Welcome to the OVAReact podcast.
In a society that tries to put women in a box.
Let's overreact. It's your girl, Momo Hoya.
It's your girl, Angela Wamboyi.
And it's your girl, Lash Angela. And today we have a wonderful guest with us. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Dr Elizabeth Wamicha and happy to be here.
Happy to have you. You're living the title. I want to be a doctor. If you're overreacting with us for the first time, thank you. You can catch other episodes on our socials and also something exciting every month.
Yes, every last Wednesday of the month from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. we have the OVAReact Hour on the Fuse alongside superhost Anne Moura, where we discuss everything women. And of course, we celebrate female artists from across the globe with our female-only music playlist.
Yes, and I hope you've been reacting with us that hour or all the episodes that we have been able to drop. Yes, it's exciting times, and we're really excited to have backstory of who can I call you Dr. Liz?
Yeah.
So Dr. Liz, backstory of Dr. Liz and how we know her is beyond even just having her as a guest. She has been you've been a guest speaker at two of our events. We had a Women in Tech event last year where we had you first, and then we had you this year in March. Maybe just introduce what you do and a fun fact about you.
Okay, so it's been really nice, being a panelist at your events. I also get a chance to learn a lot. So what I do, I'm a tech consultant where I help develop solutions that are impactful to society. And then before that, I taught for 11 years. I have taught nearly 5,000 students, I counted. Wow. So I've gotten the opportunity to interact with people from diverse places. And basically inspires me to think and, promote the idea that tech is actually for human beings and not the other way around.
Absolutely love it. Also, another fun fact, she's my mentor and a dear friend. We met at the thick of COVID. If you don't believe in online friendships, I can give you some tips. Yes, and actually the person who connected us, she's not in the picture. And it's interesting how our friendship has morphed to away from professional, rather from personal relationship to more professional relationship. And I'm really, really grateful for, I look up to you in so many ways. And if you don't know, I'm a girl in tech, women in tech over here. We just don't fix electronic toothbrushes. We fix systems and processes.
What?
You didn't see that joke about women in tech. We don't just fix electronic toothbrushes and other things. We fix systems, processes. We ensure efficiencies. And if you're looking at technology as a threat, unfortunately, we're here to debunk that technology is here to redefine our way of life and even to make it better, particularly with the evolution of AI and related technologies. There's a lot of fear around it. AI is coming to take our jobs, and unfortunately, it's going to augment human potential. So I'm super excited that we're going to be delving on this and more. For anyone who is thinking digital transformation, because that's what that's your bread and butter.
Yes.
You transform systems and processes. Maybe just give us a little bit of how you came to digital transformation consulting and a little bit of how you ended up, what you are doing in academia, and then we can move on from there.
Okay. So one of the reasons why I got into tech consulting was because of my PhD. So it's around process engineering and helping businesses scale their processes before they actually implement tech. So my research was very human-oriented. So I got an opportunity to work with several small businesses at the business school, and I noticed that some of the key issues that they were having is that they wanted to grow, but the growth was coming with a lot of chaos. So that's one of the areas that I focused on is digital transformation. In terms of academia, that's a long story. But I started out at Strathmore University, where I did my undergraduate in IT. Then I went to Dadaab to work with the refugees for
Wow.
a few years.
That's a huge transition.
Right?
Yeah.
But I was working with the youth and helping them set up ICT, like schools and all that. Then I came back to do my master's still at Strathmore. And that's when I got into full-time teaching. Yeah. So I taught for about 2 years or so, 2 to 3 years. Then I started my PhD at the University of Cape Town. So it's been a journey of, a journey of a lot of self-discovery and really appreciating the sovereignty of the human being in comparison to IT.
Right.
Yeah? So we get so scared about IT, it's going to take my job. But I think when you tweak that and focus on the sovereignty of the human being, then we get to see that this tech is for me. It's to help me solve a problem. Yeah.
I wrote an article. I have a LinkedIn newsletter, and I wrote an article about AI, right? And again, going to that point of people always feel like AI is going to take my job. And I was telling my mum, we're talking about it, and I said, if you don't work with tech, then you're going to disappear. I mentioned this at a talk before where if I mention Blockbuster, some people don't know what that is. Why? Because it refused to merge and go with the waves of the digital way of like showing movies and stuff. And that's how Netflix became what it is, right?
Yeah.
And so I was, through like my own like research, I was like, we need to learn to work with it, to elevate how we think and to even enhance what we're doing, right? And maybe even fasten how we do things. In Japan, we're seeing that they are now going to start introducing it into the curriculum. And so how, if from your experience and even just your own transition, you've seen how tech has also changed and how we've evolved. How do we make tech inclusive even for the women and girls? Like if kids in Japan are going to start having AI in their curriculum from September, they are way ahead of even me, who's mature, old enough, has degrees and stuff. But how do we change that narrative in this continent?
Yeah, so that's a good point. So I think it came up in the session we had last week about children of 6 years in China having access to AI. And then there was this whole debate of your prefrontal cortex, you're not exercising it, it's a muscle, you're getting AI to do everything for you. So what's going to happen? Will you become, will you lose your intelligence or will your intelligence evolve? We don't know. It could be either one of the two. In terms of the women and youth and children in our continent, as it is now, I don't see a situation where they have anywhere near full access to any of these technologies, including AI, especially because of the computing power that's needed to run these programs and this artificial intelligence, as well as access to smartphones. That's how you access the platforms. So it's more of the technology is there. Yeah, you can connect and access it. What's lagging behind is issues of governance, issues of policy, issues of accessibility. So we need buy-in from people at the leadership level to basically drive that agenda. And that's where the gap is. So I know there's a lot of discussion around that. So implementation needs to happen. But implementation has to happen with that remaining cognizant of, so if I continue overusing AI in quotes, what happens to my intelligence? Will my muscle continue evolving, or what's going to happen? So I think these are areas that are still at the very early stages of discussion. It's an interesting place.
Artificial intelligence versus actual intelligence.
Natural language.
A lot of ethics around there too. So even when it comes to the topic of inclusion and women being included in technology, it's more than just giving her a platform or device to use, but more so allowing women to have a seat at the table. So whether that comes to designing technology or deploying technology, and making sure that she's a part of the conversation and a part of the leadership and the code around technology. You being someone that started your journey over a decade ago, someone that has taught people, mentored others, what are some of the barriers that you had to overcome to get to where you are today? And for any woman in like present day, why are some of the reasons you're not seeing enough women in tech? And maybe some words of advice that you give to someone that really wants to get into the tech space.
Okay, so tech is very interesting. And I think what has helped me is, first of all, my personality. I tend to really go deep into things and really unpack things to the core. So that has helped me in terms of curiosity. And I've always loved research from when I was much younger. So the academic route was in a way easy for me. Also because I think I'm an introvert, so I have all the time to just read books and everything. So that helped. And then also I had an opportunity to have a lot of really good mentors early on in my career, including my dad, who also had a PhD. He was a dean at Kenyatta University. So I grew up with books in the house.
He was a dean at KU?
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So I think growing up in that setting really set the pace. But that said, it's been a very tough journey. You have to be resilient. You have to, in a room where, okay, I don't like using this analogy too much, but it's the truth. In a room where you're very few women, you have to constantly prove yourself. And it has to be every day without fail. You have no option but to just be at your best in every time. And also when you're lecturing, the students look at you. Yeah. So for the 11 years that I stood in front of a class, I had to be at the top of my game, regardless of what I was going through at home or wherever. And then now when you bring in the fact that I did my PhD in South Africa, which is a beautiful place. I love Cape Town. But even in that setting, you still need to really exert yourself and prove yourself to your supervisor, to your colleagues, to your other lecturers. So I think it's been a lifelong lesson of toughness, resilience, and having the opportunity to also see my dad doing it. When I reflect back, I think he's been a really major contributor to where I am now.
Oh my God,
Wow.
that's amazing.
That's
Do you know
amazing.
anything about your dad? That's important that, you never know who will mentor you. And you grew up seeing your dad changing things. So you bring very interesting angle to empowerment, and you bring about system level perspective to your leadership. So you've worked in academia and then transitioned into private sector. You've worked in international development where from, child services protection to now system that either respond to humanitarian assistance. What has that taught you as a woman? You talked about the power of proving yourself. And of course, on the side of international development, you're a woman, you're Black, you're African, and you're up against white men, old, and they know what they know. You know nothing in that room. How have you been able to level up negotiation from salary, proving your concept, owning your concepts, and going out there and just showing them it's Dr. Liz and it's me. Yeah.
Well, Monica, honestly, I'll say it's taken me a very long time to be able to really have the courage to present myself in a room and say, by the way, I can do this. And you people, give me space, I show you my thing. But our demographic, a Black African woman, already that sets you up for a lot of challenges going forward, especially in the consultancy field, where even the amount that you are realistically going to quote for a project is going to be much lower than someone of a different demographic. So I've always been caught up in that situation. So I usually tell myself, you know what, I'm going in for the experience. But realistically, you'll usually get a much lower rate. So one of the things that I'm really intentional about this year is mentorship. So I went ahead and I was very intentional. What kind of a mentor do I want? First of all, this mentor is going to be a man. He's going to be in senior leadership, and he's going to have walked the path that I've walked. So understands the ecosystem and also understands the nuances of the people who are in that table. You know, that table we're usually told about.
Yes.
Yeah. So so this year I was very deliberate, and I actually looked for this person, and I thank God because I have been able to interact with my mentor who fits that description for the last few months, and I have more confidence in terms of presenting myself, and even the mere fact that he agreed to mentor me, that in itself has really indicated that I'm on the right path and I'm making an impact. Yeah, so I'd say getting a mentor who is in that demographic that has the access would be a place to start from.
Wow.
Before someone asks you, I want to ask, what has that mentor instilled in you? Maybe that was already a defeatist mentality, because first is a man and second is in that room. So how has he changed your perspective from stops to see yourself as value? Like, what certain things has he taught you? Any quotes, any motto, and anyone who might not get a chance to have a mentor like yours?
Yeah. So I'd say when I was, I knew him from years back, but when I met him now for this mentorship session, I had to, tell him what I've done. So he's like, Dr. you have done so much. You have done this and this. He was even like surprised, like, why am I speaking like I'm not excited about it? So I'd say for someone who maybe doesn't have access to a mentor within that, that's a demographic, I'd say be very conscious about your achievements. Yeah. Even if it's taking yourself for breakfast, and I think I mentioned it before, taking yourself for, to celebrate your achievements and being very, very intentional about writing them down and really thanking God with a lot of gratitude for what you have achieved, and having friends around you who will be your cheerleaders. Not everyone will be your cheerleader, but having someone or even people who will walk that journey with you and really celebrate you. And then one other thing, if you don't have access to a mentor face-to-face where you can discuss, you can go online on YouTube, on a podcast like this one, and find someone who you look up to.
That's a good one.
A podcast mentor. Go on.
Yeah, podcast. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but there's a specific podcast that I listen to.
Sure, yeah, you can please share.
Okay, so it's JRE. Yeah, Joe Rogan. And I was telling one of the people I am mentoring that one of the reasons why I religiously listen to Joe Rogan is because it allows me to even observe how this, a white man speaks.
White man's world.
How they speak, how they express themselves, how they communicate, how they discuss issues with each other. So it gives you a lot of insight about not necessarily how I should speak, but some of the nuances that you should expect from this group, which is quite quite dominant in the tech space.
Yeah, and I tend to think that I also like Joe Rogan, but I can take him with
doses.
Yeah, in doses. I like him, and I think most of the YouTube I consume, especially in tech, they tend to be very white male heavy in terms of the creators and of course, the founders. And I wanted to ask you, in your sprint or in your stint in the development space, what has a system that you've been involved in development to deployment? Do you have a case study of a success story in terms of how that system has changed someone's life? It could be a child, maybe a child protection. It could be a woman, maybe.
Okay. I would say that, allow me not to say the specifics, but I got an opportunity to project manage a project in the southern part of Africa. And So the idea was to help the national government to set up a nationwide inpatient system. So imagine Kenyatta Hospital didn't have an inpatient system. So we were going in to help them develop the inpatient system. So we landed there, and apparently before we arrived, the guys in the country were like, hey, these Kenyans are just coming on holiday. Like they had that idea. Two ladies coming in to just enjoy themselves. So we touched down. By the next day, we already had our plan. We already had our roadmap. We had our PowerPoint. We presented. So they're like, hey, you guys know what you're doing. Day 2, we were already in the field. Amazing. So we were able to collect the requirements because that was part of the work. And within a span of, I was there for a week. My colleague was there for 2 weeks. But by the time we were both leaving, they were like, when are people coming back? So that was really nice to hear. So we developed the MVP, which is the most viable product. So it's a initial iteration of the system. So by the time I was leaving the project, I'm now so happy with our work that they wanted us to do the next iteration. So this system was supposed to support especially mothers to automate the process of admission, surgery, and so on. So the initial process was very long. So anytime you went to visit the hospital, you had to get your data collected again. So this took time. And then you can imagine you're about to deliver. Someone is there looking for your papers. So this system definitely had an impact. And I don't know why that particular project it's really stuck close to my heart. And still keep in touch with the team there.
Amazing. That's so beautiful. So just by hearing you speak, we know that you're a firm believer in digital transformation. So like in the next 3 to 10 years, let's say, how can emerging technology like AI, blockchain, cybersecurity help women, create sustainable careers for themselves?
Okay, so let's start with AI. I think AI is generally very accessible for us who are, who have access to smartphones, for instance. So some of the ways that we could use it is to something as simple as drafting an email. I even wanted to run a class with my mom's age to show them how to write, polite texts to people. Because some of the
what do you mean polite text?
Some of the SMSs can be very a bit rude.
Can you develop an AI where they just click reply?
Like I want to tell my daughter in a polite way, then ChatGPT generates the text. So I was, I spoke to my mom, would you be interested? So she's like, yeah. So that's an area that, an out of the box area.
Oh my God, African mom being checked by AI.
Yeah, I know, right.
Nice one. It's very interesting how your train of thought.
And you're putting it in a cultural context.
But there's so many use cases for AI application. Like it's what the media is telling us. We feel like it's possible, but AI, like it brings a lot of opportunities. It's endless. If you start thinking how you can apply, it's mind-boggling.
No, go on.
Yeah.
Okay. So blockchain, I love blockchain. In fact, I was a fan of blockchain before AI because blockchain and processes tend to really go well together. So blockchain, I'd say it's really nice for, documents that are highly sensitive, like title deeds. You can actually use blockchain to make sure that the correct owner of the land is actually the one holding the title deed. So it's going to be, if it's implemented, it's a really nice tool to reduce corruption in the country and make processes as transparent as they can be. So it's like a safeguard.
I actually think there's a startup, a guy that got a lot of funding that was digitizing title deeds for people. And then if you remember your land number, so you can easily get access to your title. The mother title especially for anyone somewhere rural, instead of like keeping it under the mattress.
And this joke I saw the other day about every piece of land has 5 titles and every landowner has it. It was a crazy article.
The one at Business Daily, they were talking about even investors are being swindled.
Yeah.
For investment. It's crazy, this country.
You've worked with, you've coached women, and you've developed like tools that are aimed at creating better systems for vulnerable people. What are some of the tools that you've developed, and how have you seen they have shifted the trajectory of how the women integrate with the system?
So yeah, one of the really nice tools that we developed was back when I was in Dadaab. So we were dealing with a very interesting demographic, which was refugees, and most of them were actually from Somalia. And yeah, so the cultural context is actually very unique. And also the language.
Right.
So we got an opportunity to take them through a leadership program. And part of the leadership program was also digital skills. So that was really interesting, and a lot of interaction and back and forth, and yeah. So the tool actually helped us to inculcate those skills to the girls. And I found that by the time the project was ending, they were really empowered. And I hear most of them actually, graduated and went abroad, which was
nice.
Yeah. And some actually even went back to Somalia, and they're the ones basically
Changing
building the economy.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was also So I'd say that any curriculum that has some digital anchor in it can be used it can be used for economy, can be used for markets, for entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Amazing. You talked about digital skills. I'm very passionate about skilling and tech readiness.
Yeah.
So the Lash asked about how do we increase numbers of girls and women in the tech value chain. So that could be instead of women being the users, how can we be architects of this technology? And I think also this is a conversation we had some other time when we were talking about research and around AI, and how to increase that relationship between developers and users. Do you think digital skilling and upskilling is the way we increase more women in tech, or what's your theory?
My theory. My theory is it's going to sound a bit controversial, but
that's why we call ourselves
OVAReact.
So,
you're in the right place.
Yeah. So, by the way, when I was at Strathmore University, when I started teaching, it was the guys who are really doing well in the course. By the time I was leaving, it was the girls. A shift happened.
Amazing.
And
do you think you,
in
being the
science?
teacher, had something to do with it?
Yes, I think that was one aspect. And then also the other aspect was that, girls are getting a lot of empowerment nowadays. It's very intentional. And just generally this whole idea that girls cannot code, girls cannot do tech, it's a myth.
Question.
Yeah.
Did you see an increase in BBIT or in com science? Both. Because there was another narrative off topic and off camera. We'll talk about it because I thought about BBIT. They're like, oh, it's business washed up with IT fundamentals.
Yeah.
Hawajui tunakodu huku nje?
Well, my counter to that is that business and IT is where the world is right now.
Exactly.
Even informatics, you need business. Yeah. So
more. We want to hear the theory.
So one way is to definitely mentor. Yeah. And a part of that mentorship should be removing that whole myth that girls cannot do tech. That is not there. It's not anywhere close to the truth. And I can tell you that because I have seen girls in undergraduate. I have seen, ladies. I've seen ladies in undergraduate, masters, and at PhD level, and they thrive. Yeah, and I've seen, even the CEOs that we have currently, we have really strong female CEOs. So, and usually that's the first thing that you'll hear when you get into a room. Oh, this one is here because of affirmative action. That is just a ploy. It's a fake narrative.
Fake news.
Fake news, yes. To help you, increase your imposter syndrome to a nice level. So I think those are things that need to just be ignored. And going back to what I said before, that every day go home, write down a list of what you've achieved.
Yeah.
And even don't compare yourself with anyone. I usually tell my son, you need to compare yourself with how you were yesterday. And when you focus on how you can improve going forward, all that noise is just whatever. You say what you want to say. Me, I'm doing me.
Thank you for showing us that the narrative is changing, where women are taking up space and owning it, and beyond just making electric toothbrushes. It's been really great to learn and hear how tech is shaping from an academia point of view and even from working point of view. For those who would love to connect with you, and even, I don't know if you mentor people beyond Mo, I don't know if you have capacity, but yeah, please share how people can connect with you.
Okay. So I do mentorship, and I also run a 6-month program where you get a chance to interact directly with me. I have a structured 7-week program that spans the 7-session program that spans the 6 months. And then you also get a chance to do it in a group setting. So you get to interact with other techies, people in the business space, people focusing on specific projects. And then I also attach you to a mentor. You get a chance to speak to someone who's walked a similar path that you're walking. And then for the early career, that is people who've just finished campus, I offer mentorship sessions at 5,000 shillings a session.
Awesome.
All right. And before we wrap up, what is one parting shot that you would give to any lady out there, when it comes to whether they want to be an entrepreneur in tech or public service? What is that one word of advice you give them in terms of what skills should they be focusing on to elevate themselves?
Okay. So this one, allow me to say this because this is what has really impacted me. And I think the thing I'd say is being fully aligned with your divine purpose. Because when you come into the world, you are supposed to be created from infinity. God knew that on this day, during this period, Elizabeth will be alive. So he is so invested in your career. He's actually probably even more invested in your career than you are. So the more aligned that you are with your divine purpose, the more success you see, the more money comes in, and the more you actually contribute to society. Yeah, so there's no way you can lose with that.
Yeah, quickly, as AI is here and the history around it. So talk about AI and ethics and women, the intersection, or how we were saying the rise of deep fakes, that we're going to see more cyberbullying, digital violence increasing against women.
That one it's very much connected to cybersecurity and also policy making. And one way that we can support that is by making sure that we are getting data on our context onto these AI platforms. So that way, we're actually sharing data about ourselves. And how are we collecting this data? Are we collecting it in an ethical way? Are we collecting consent from people who we are interacting, who are accessing the AI platforms? And how is this data being disseminated? Yeah. And I think that's a very layered question because it touches on cybersecurity, it touches on digital literacy, it touches on so many other things that need to happen more or less at the same time.
Yeah. And I think it's a perfect segue to plug in our upcoming Women in Tech branch, which I think you're going to be part of the panel debunking the uptake of AI, the deployment of AI, policy, ethics, and all of that. And super excited because it's going to be dropping very soon on our socials, which are...
At Sister Speaks 254 is where you can connect with us. So you can also connect with this podcast and other previous podcasts at OVAReact podcast on Instagram. You can watch this and previous podcasts on Capital FM YouTube Kenya, or listen to it via at Sister Speaks Global Spotify. So yeah, we're excited. Let's continue overreacting.
All right, ladies, let's
overreact.